What's up, guys? Today we're going to be working on the monster golf cart. And the most important part of that project is getting this engine fitted inside the rear subframe. And so I've done a few things off camera before we even get started. I forgot to film them, sorry. So let me go over them real quick on camera so you guys know. I bought a little ATV gas tank. This is only about a gallon, so it's probably not going to go very far. But it'll do its purpose. This is 25 feet of 3/16 fuel line. And on top of this, I also ordered a petcock and three-way splitter. That hasn't come in yet, but it's not really instrumental today, so I can get started. Now, this is the engine. This is the belt. So the belt sits right here, and as the engine accelerates, what happens is the gear ratio over here, the sprocket expands, and so this gets smaller and this moves inwards, so this gets bigger. So basically when you accelerate, you have a small gear here and a big gear here, which gives you good acceleration. And as the way centrifugal clutch or CVT works is as it gains speed, this gets bigger and this gets smaller, giving you a much greater top speed. This is the same way jet skis, or I'm sorry, not jet skis, golf carts, go-karts, snowmobiles, all that stuff works the same way. Scooters work like this. This is basically an expanded GY6. So this is a 650cc two-stroke Polaris motor. As best I can tell, it's from the 70s or maybe the 80s, but it's a really old motor. And what I did was I cleaned up the coil wiring, I redid all of this, so now it just comes in here. This is our ignition box. I heat shrunk all the connections from the stator. And this guy right here is will need to be our kill switch. It's a Polestar motor. So what we're actually going to do is, I've also gone through the carburetors here, and so everything is clean. Basically this engine is ready to go in, or as ready to go in as I can make it. As you can see, it's mounted on these skids. And what we're actually going to do is we're going to reuse these rubber mounts down here. So we're going to unbolt these skids. And we're actually going to use a piece of real thick, I think it's 3/8, quarter inch or 3/8 plate to make a mounting plate for this engine. And then we're also going to weld in 2 pieces of square tubing across. And that is going to be basically our cradle. It's going to be very, very basic, very, very fundamental. As you guys know, I really only have a shitty little welder, so we're going to make this as basic as we can, and then if I don't think I can weld well enough with that thickness of metal structurally here, we'll load it up in the truck and take it to my buddy who has a proper welder and do the final welds there. But we'll tack it up and get everything fitted at the garage. So step number 1 is we're actually going to get the golf cart up in the air, which is more of a challenge than it seems. And we're going to get the rear subframe out and roll it right here so that we can get it set up and basically start figuring out where everything needs to go. Additionally, when we make the mounting plate, the plan is to slot the plate so that we can basically adjust this initial tension. And this pulley over here is actually quite large, so they have to sit quite close to each other. The other thing is, this doesn't have any exhaust flanges on it, so I'm going to have to find some or fab some exhaust flanges and an exhaust, which is going to be a huge pain in the butt. But thankfully, the engine will run without it, at least temporarily. So I guess it's time to get that subframe pulled out. It looks like it's just going to be a couple of bolts, so hopefully nothing the impact can't handle. Let's get started. So the rear shocks are mounted basically with just these single bolts, and we're going to leave the upper shock mount in because I don't even understand how they welded that in there. But we're basically just going to punch out this lower bolt and then find a way to lift up on here to just jerry-rig this up out of the way. Well, here is the engine mocked up in the frame. And as you can see, there is absolutely no way in hell that would ever fit. It's about, because I got this part lined up, more or less, and basically there's just no way that this would fit in this package without having to stretch this whole swing arm assembly, because the engine is just too long. So basically there's a vertical shackle, there's a vertical piece that comes into this shackle, and as you can see, it would just be impossible. And the only thing I could do is I could maybe potentially angle the motor a little bit to get it closer, but I don't think that using a mounting plate, I'm gonna have enough gap here just between these mounts right here and where this is right here. So I don't think there's really, I mean, obviously where there is a will, there is a way, but this is just, I'm afraid this is probably gonna be beyond, I don't want to say my skill level, but definitely beyond the amount of time I would want to invest in something like this, which leaves me really with two alternatives. Alternative number one is to simply procure a different, smaller engine from a snowmobile and custom fab it. Get an actual golf cart engine and fab up some mounts for that. Or punt this project down the road, and it's looking like we're probably going to be punting this one, because this is going to be a crap ton of work either way, and unfortunately I don't think I'm going to be able to get it in. Now the interesting thing is this Polaris engine, I think, is actually worth more than what I paid for everything, because it is pretty rare. So sorry about that, guys. I know I promised you a monster golf cart, and I'm not delivering, and I'm sorry, because that makes me sad. But this would just be way too much work. Well, I'm gonna try to quickly reassemble this bitch back together and post some pictures on the internet and punt it down the road. Thanks, guys. Hopefully I have more luck with the Formula car.